Before we begin, we would like to say that, in our opinion, what follows is not suitable for children, or for those of you who are of a Marxist or misandrist disposition.
Oh, for God's sake!
I don't like it.
Idiots!
Hello, Grumpies. While the sheeple are obsessing over the trashy, voyeuristic distraction that is Love Island, those of us who can think for ourselves have been more interested in the latest series of the political game show that is Who Wants to Be Prime Minister? This show rolls around every few years or so, and this latest series featured 8 contestants who wanted to take over from the previous winner, Doris Johnson, only 3 of whom were ever seriously in the running to win. Like my boy Clarky over at the Sanctuary of Geeks, I was gutted that Pussy Mordaunt, one of the few shaggable biological vagina women in the House of Commons, didn't make the grand final. Instead, the finalists are Liz Truss, a bargain basement Helene who has less charisma than an Auton, and Richie Sunak, who's as slippery as Syl, and a frontman for the World Economic Forum, those nice people who love the idea of digital currencies and social credit scores.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
Another reason for Tory party members not to choose Sunak is that he does that Tony Blair thing with his thumb, which is a red flag if ever I saw one. But then, given the current cost of living crisis and the Marxist unions bringing all their members out on strike left, right and bloody centre, losing the next election would probably be a good idea. Then the Prime Minister we should have had for the next election can take over in time for the election after that. The one after Labour have royally fucked everything up, like they always do. The reason Pussy Mordaunt was the best option wasn't that she was shaggable. If anything, her support for the woke trans mob calls her judgment into serious question. The reason she was the best option was that she was the one who clearly, according to the polling, stood the best chance of hanging on to the red wall seats in the north of England in order to beat the Marxists and Keir Starmer at the next general election. Liz the Auton, not so much. What everyone's overlooked is Nadine Dorries, the Culture Secretary. She was a loyal Borisista who is currently giving the middle finger to those woke wankers at the Bias Broadcasting Corporation. Will whoever ends up being the next PM keep her as Culture Secretary? Will they still get rid of the licence fee? That's a question that wasn't asked in any of the debates. Or will they cave to the blackmail bollocks that is the predictable accusations of cultural vandalism? The BBC of classic Doctor Who isn't the BBC of today. Today's BBC are the cover-up queens, enabling a sexual predator like Jimmy Savile and arguably initiating the chain of events that led to the death of Diana, Princess of Wales. As far as I'm concerned, the BBC have blood on their hands. And I hope Nadine Dorries gets to finish the job and finish them off. The next PM, whoever it is, needs to keep her in place, if for no other reason than to annoy that tosser Russell T Davies, or, to give him his full name, Russell C-U-N-T Davies. So much for diversity and inclusion. Speaking of the diversity delusion, have you noticed that now they're calling it diversity, equality and inclusion, rather than diversity, inclusion and equality? If anything needs to die, it's that. Russell C-U-N-T Davies is a despicable human being, a self-righteous hypocrite who talks about tolerance and acceptance but doesn't practice it when it comes to people he disagrees with. But then what do you expect from a Marxist twat like that? A homosexual misogynist bigot who's been freeloading for years off of his poll tax TV subsidy. This is the same wanker who says that only gay actors should play gay characters in the name of authenticity. Okay then, what about Patrick Stewart as Professor X? He's able-bodied. Why is he playing a character in a wheelchair? Where's the outrage over that? Of course, there ain't any, for the same reason that there was no blowback over Shitika wearing Chinese clobber in Return of the Turtlemen. So much for cultural appropriation being unacceptable. But then, lefties always indulge in selective outrage. What's really unacceptable is the self-righteous hypocrisy of the likes of Russell C-U-N-T Davies. Lewis Hamilton's another. with his diversity strategy bollocks and always banging on about Black Lives Matter, that wonderful Marxist organisation. Just shut up, you twat, and drive the bloody car. Sebastian Vettel, he's another one, always banging on about his eco-wank. Shut up and drive the bloody car. Speaking of fuckwits.
You are voting for murderers, bastards, abusers and liars.
Now you might think that he's talking about Tory voters. Tory voters who incidentally help pay his wages from the fucking poll tax licence fee. Actually, he's talking about himself. He's talking about the Marxists.
Murderers, bastards, abusers and liars. Murderers, bastards, abusers and liars. Murderers, bastards, abusers and liars.
So here's another award for Russell C.U.N.T. Davies to add to his collection. Wanker of the Week. Every fucking week. Until the next time, resist the Marxists and stay grumpy.
Murderers, bastards, abusers and liars.
If you're a lefty and have been affected by anything in this video,
Fuck off!